Hello there. Welcome to Redditor. Please, if you enjoy this video, like and subscribe. The channel is new and small and every sub counts. Okay, anyway, begging over.
Exposed!
Video time. Reddit, Quickie. r/just no mother-in-law. Soon to be just no mother-in-law. Got us to cancel our wedding. Hey y'all, long time lurker, first time poster, apologies for being on mobile, etc. Sorry for novel, I just have to rant. I figured y'all would get a kick out of this. So fiance and I got engaged at the end of June, and I thought my soon to be mother-in-law was wonderful. She's been very supportive, kind, and we've gotten along up until now. I recently found out that fiance didn't propose the night I thought he was going to. Fancy dinner at my favorite restaurant because just no mother-in-law kept refusing to give him the ring. It was his great-grandmother's and just kept giving excuses. Are you sure this is what you want? I just don't think it's the right time. Ugh. She finally handed over the ring and now we're engaged. We've been planning a big wedding for July 2021 and we're going to do it on their farmland and have a nice outdoor ceremony. Well, future father-in-law said no alcohol. He doesn't want it on his property. Okay, cool, we can work around that. Well then, just no mother-in-law said she would be uncomfortable having people in her house using her bathroom. So we told her forget it. We'll rent out an actual venue. She did not like this. What do you mean you don't want it at our house? I'll even rent the porta potties for you. I would die before having porta potties at my wedding. Also, this is the only thing she's mentioned paying for, but has had no problem demanding fiance's 6-year-old sister and 11-year-old brother be in the ceremony, and adding her friends and distant relatives that fiance doesn't even know to the guest list. We finally decided a big wedding was going to be too expensive and way too much of a hassle, and told everyone we are eloping in a few weeks instead, and taking a 2-week honeymoon to the Bahamas next summer. She sent a text that said when, where, can we come, and are we having a baby? Fiance said at the courthouse, no baby, and you can come to the reception after. Cue the call me when you're alone text to fiance. So of course I was sitting right next to him when he called her. She asked if he was alone and went into a rant of, are you sure you want this? She's already been married once, but you haven't. Are your opinions being heard? You're going to regret not having a wedding. I can't believe you're just going to do this to me. He told her he will not regret not having a wedding. He loves me, and our memories will be made on our honeymoon. Then she says, well, would you consider cutting your honeymoon short so you can afford a big wedding? You're my first Barbie. What about the family? You only get married once. Are you sure she's who you want to be with forever? My very shiny spin fiance claps back with, heck no, we are not compromising on the honeymoon. And you've been married twice, so obviously it does happen more than once, and yes, she is who I want to spend my forever with. Then she gets teary and starts sniffling and crying. I just can't believe you're not going to let me be involved at all. Who are the witnesses going to be? Fiance's 2 best friends, my brother and his girlfriend. Well, I just don't think that's fair. I think we should be your witnesses. Does this mean when we have a baby I won't be allowed in the delivery room? Yes. That's exactly what that means. I can't even, holy crap. This is going to be a long marriage with her around. I'm so proud of fiance for shutting her down and standing up for me. People who posted their story on Reddit and the person in said story found it. How did it go? I was giving someone anonymous career advice on Reddit, and the corporate office of company that I worked DM'd me and basically told me to stop. They saw my post and basically internet stalked me until they figured out who I was. They said they knew my identity in their DM. It was a super 1984 moment for me. Point: in what context would your employer care that you were giving career advice to someone? I work in entertainment and there are a ton of gatekeepers that get super weird about giving anybody a leg up. Yep. Super toxic industry is super toxic. No surprise there. I'm also in entertainment. Stalking, harassment, power tripping, and gatekeeping are the norm. It's horrifying how terrible it is once you get inside. I'm working to leave it and find something more ethical. What are you doing in entertainment? I'm an actor and left multiple toxic places. Trying to create my own thing now and still looking for people that are cool. Found a lot, though, but not the majority. Fellow actor. Doing the same. Left a theater that's being run by a despot and have been independently producing things, guerrilla style. Guerrilla is the way to go. R.I.P. Harambe. Dicks out. F. DK style is the way to go. DK. Donkey Kong is here. R/just no mother-in-law. JNMIL is threatening to take us to court for visitation of the grandchildren she abandoned 5 years ago. New user. Brief introduction of the major characters. Me, 33 meters. My wife, 31F. My kids, 7 meters and 4F. JNMIL. I don't know her age anymore. She probably escaped from Pandora's box. Background for context. Just under 5 years ago, my wife and I were called to a family meeting at her brother's house. We were told when we arrived that mother-in-law had met another woman while on holiday and was leaving my father-in-law to pursue a relationship with this woman, and she wanted to leave all of her responsibilities behind. My wife had never had a good relationship with her. See r/narcissistic parents for details. And I had always found her to be about as genuine as a £9 note, but this still came as a big shock and was cause for sadness for everyone. Then mother-in-law sent letters to almost everyone. These letters were absolute dog shit, and she clearly wrote them to assuage some of her guilt and nothing else. For some reason, my younger brother-in-law didn't get one, but she wrote to her sisters, her husband and her 2 eldest kids, my wife and the older brother, plus a couple of close friends. I only know the details of the letter my wife received, and it was filled with hollow statements about I've spent my whole life looking after people and I need to go away and enjoy myself. For about 6 months, nobody spoke to her, and we all assumed she was gone for good. But then she started Operation Save Face. In a nutshell, she acted as if she'd done nothing wrong, and said anyone who was still avoiding contact was a homophobe. Annoyingly, this has worked for the most part, and now it's only me and my wife who have persisted with no contact. It was not an easy decision to do this, but the initial abandonment caused my wife to talk much more openly about the physical, mental and financial abuse she suffered as a child and young adult. Those are not my stories to share, but suffice to say they are pretty horrible, and I could never be friendly with anyone who could behave in that way, even if I wasn't married to the target of their abuse. Since then, we receive infrequent letters of her asking to see the kids, even though she last saw our daughter when she was 10 weeks old, and my wife used to get regular texts until she changed her number. Current situation. Previous letters have vaguely referred to grandparents' rights, which exist in the UK, but are almost solely for when a couple have separated, and the parent with sole custody prevents the ex-partner's parents from seeing the kids. The most recent letter is a strange, meandering live stream of this woman's thought process in which she switches effortless between guilt-tripping about recently deceased family members, I'd have thought my sister's death would change your mind, and direct threat of court action. If you can't agree to X, I'll just go with what the judge says. I still feel confident that we have made the right decision for us and our children, but we've made preliminary contract with a family solicitor in our city who has suggested we put together a timeline of events and make online copies of all the letters, which we are doing tomorrow, which should be fun. I don't think I've got every detail down, but will happily clarify details should there be any questions. I would appreciate any help, advice, or encouragement, or tell me I'm in the wrong. Nobody is infallible. Thanks. Edit. I'm a little bit overwhelmed by the volume and positivity of the response. Thanks so much to everyone who's given advice. We both feel more confident in our decision and optimistic about the immediate future. You guys are cool. R/confession. 8 years ago I caused a UFO panic. One college summer break 8 years ago my friends and I were bored. We remembered a demonstration from a high school science class of a solar balloon. This was just a really thin black plastic bag you'd fill with air, seal, and then set out in the sun. The sun would heat the air in the black bag and the bag would become buoyant and float. We had the idea to find the cheapest/thinnest black plastic trash bags available and combine a bunch of them to make a huge balloon. We spent a few days driving around to Walmarts and dollar stores trying different brands to find the thinnest possible plastic bag and thinnest tape which would work the best. Finally we took a number of them cut off the bottom ends and taped them together into a huge balloon which we filled up with a leaf blower and then tied the end. After sitting out in the sun for a half hour or so we had done it. This is a picture a friend had taken as it was just becoming buoyant. We had to mess around with how the tape was sealing the bags to use as little of it as possible as the weight of the tape added up and made the balloon harder to float. Shortly after this the balloon got away from us further. This was disappointing, but we made another one and got funny looks from cars driving by and were entertained for a bit. Shortly after that this new balloon met its demise smacking into a tree and getting popped. Oh well, mission success. A few years later I happened across this news article. The balloon that got away had apparently blown a town over and caused a big UFO panic. People were calling 911, the police, and local radio stations about it. Our boredom unintentionally created a UFO panic in central NJ. I moved out of the area, but when I get together with my friend we always bring this up and have a good laugh. Edit. Wow, didn't really think this would gain much traction. Also didn't expect any NJ redditors to have seen this, let alone the author of the article to show up. Glad everyone thinks this is funny, but that being said, please don't go out and do this on purpose. Edit. Wow, first gold ever. Thanks. r/just no mother-in-law. My mother-in-law tried to forbid my family from coming to see me newborn. Me, 26F, and my husband, 31 meters, welcomed our newborn baby boy 8 weeks ago. My mother-in-law only lives a few minutes from us. Father-in-law and dear husband just ignore her behavior. She is there all day, every day, trying to take over my baby. She told me I was being unfair by breastfeeding as it meant no one else gets to bond with him. She even suggested I express so everyone else gets a turn in nursing him. She'd hold him for a long time and refused to give him to me. She'd start talking about how filthy the house is and that I should do more around the house. She'd get angry because my mom and dad would come once every 2 weeks to see their grandson. She still brings up the name that we should have picked instead of the one we went with and asks if there is a possibility we could change our minds and consider. Yesterday my brother, his wife and my nieces came to visit and she tried to forbid my nieces a hold because they would drop him. My brother and I are very close. He could see I was upset. He sat the girls on our sofa and said he would make sure they didn't drop him. I could see the hate in her eyes because he went against what she had forbid. My sister-in-law also copped a death stare for holding him and for changing his diaper. She tried to make a joke about women who didn't have boys themselves have no idea how to change a boy baby. My brother replied back saying women who had babies 30 years ago probably can't remember how to change a diaper. She just sat across from him after that and started telling him hurtful things and being disrespectful to him and his wife. She told them she needed to change the diaper, even though my sister-in-law did that 15 minutes ago and told them they should leave. I could tell my brother was hurt because he didn't talk to me before he left. He just got out the door and left. After they left, she actually started yelling at me, telling me that too many visitors is never a good idea as the baby doesn't settle due to extra stimulation, and that if I want to continue to host visits then I should do it alone, without my baby. I told her that they don't get to see him every day like she does, and that she is the main visitor all the time. So if she feels they should be restricted, then she needs to be too. Her reply was that she has more rights as it's her son's son, and without him, I wouldn't have this baby. She even had the nerve to say you're just the mommy, I'm his mama. I was outraged and told her she is not to call herself his mama, a name she knows I was going to be called once he started talking, and if ever she tried that again. Also said that all day every day is too much and she can restrict her visits to twice a week, same as my parents and brother get. She acted upset and left, then texted my husband in the evening basically bitching and telling him a completely different story to the one I told him, and said that I was trying to keep her away from her baby keyword here and kick her out of the house. She blatantly lied, but my husband was not happy with what I did and said that I shouldn't have said those things to his mom. Husband is a peacemaker. His mother's behavior was so subtle for so many years that my husband always acted like I was being too sensitive. I went to my room and just cried. She totally ruined my life. I'm exhausted and depressed all the time and can't take her anymore. I don't know what to do. I made a copy of a former friend's house key with the intent to rob them. I still carry the key months later. Not sure where to start on this one, but it's been eating at me this entire week and I feel like I have to get it off my chest. For the last couple of years up until half a year ago, I used to help out the family of a girl I wanted to bone. Real champion of ethics here. From that simple desire, I got led down a path that I thankfully got away from, because that entire family is fornicating insane. Father is in prison for using and selling meth. Mom is a male entertainer addicted to alcohol and other body purifying substances. The daughter, the one I wanted to bone, was the textbook definition of a dumb blonde, plus she had extreme ODD. And the only slightly normal one was a 13-year-old daughter who their mother willingly bought alcohol and weed for. Despite this, they actually had some wealth hidden away. Getting a copy of their house key was easy when the mom left all her keys in my car on a solo trip to City Hall. After that, it was just a minute trip to the local hardware store and spending $1.25 to get a copy. I was gone 5 minutes and she didn't even have a clue she left them in my car. After that, it was just finding where the jewelry was hidden and waiting for a good opportunity. They lived in a very poor part of town where burglaries are common. But despite this, they didn't invest in any sort of anti-theft system anywhere. No cameras, no alarms, no animals, nothing. The big issue was at least one of them was always home. Despite this inconvenience, I found the jewelry in a little metal container stuffed back behind the store's worth of sex toys in the mom's closet. Easy to explore the house when everyone is blackout drunk at 3 AM. I obviously couldn't take it then, so I left it and put all the gross fornicating toys right back where I found them. Now all I had to do was wait for the opportunity. The closest I came was when they all went to Florida for a week, but some other a-hole broke in an hour earlier. Before I got there, the place was swarming with police, and only because the idiot had broken a window to get in and alerted the neighbors. My plan would be to go through front with the key and leave through the back door in the garage, leaving it unlocked to make it look like they forgot to lock that door. They often did anyways, since it barely opens and the top 2 hinges are missing. Since then, I've never gotten another opportunity. I've completely thrown all those psychos out of my life, but I still have that house key. It's actually right alongside my own house key and my car keys on my keychain. So that's my confession that's been eating at me. I don't feel better at all. I actually feel stupid that I cut them out because I haven't had a drop of alcohol since then. The mom paid me and such for driving them around and doing miscellaneous tasks. I couldn't tell you why I still have the key. Maybe it's just the thought that I have this ridiculously easy crime I could commit, or that I have all this wealthy knowledge hidden behind one simple key. Would I do it now given the opportunity? No. It's not worth the time to scope a place and figure out when they next all leave together. I've got a fairly successful job now. Whatever jewelry was there, I make almost double in a month. Back then, I was jobless and living at my parents' house since money was tight for me. TLDR. Got a copy of the key to a friend's house to later rob them, but the right opportunity never showed up. Also, my keychain is my PFP. If anyone is interested for some reason, the key on top is a copy of their house key. Whoa, you made it to the end? Nice. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe and like. I'm a new channel, and it helps a lot more than you think. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.